Hi, I'm Jessie Heron, host of Rediscover Your Story, a podcast for marketers who need a break from everyday learning, but still want to hear from like-minded professionals on all things creative. Today, we have Gina Rittinger. This badass boss has done it all. She's been a vice president of marketing in so many different organizations. You're going to want to hear about all of her knowledge.
How do you tell a story? How do you sell a product that looks as less sexy as wire and cable as possible? I have had incredible men and women in my life that have helped lift and pull me throughout my career. And I want to be able to give that back too. Kurt Drake came on board as our chief ethics officer, and I learned so much from him. And again, an amazing student that came out of NKU.
North up. Hashtag, but first, if you're loving Rediscover Your Story, go ahead and smash that bell and subscribe on YouTube. And don't forget to follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and wherever you can get your streaming content. And hey, if you're interested in who we are at Resolve, we're a video content agency, and we can help you create your video content marketing just like we're doing with the podcast. Please follow along at our website, resolve.com. That's RESLV.com. Subscribe to our newsletter and never hesitate to reach out to us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We can't wait to hear from you. Let's rediscover Gina's story. Hey, Gina.
Hi, Jessie.
Welcome to the Rediscover Your Story podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I've been trying to get you for a little bit, actually.
I know.
You've been a busy lady. You've been up to a lot in your new role, which we'll get into. But I think that with our podcast, we're all about rediscovering stories. And I think you just have such a really interesting story to tell. And I don't want to blast through your career, but you have been in higher education. You've been in a B2B global, role. And now you're tackling the entire city of Cincinnati, essentially, at REDI.
Yeah.
How have you kind of gone from one side of the spectrum to the other? It's a loaded question.
Oh, gosh. Honestly, I don't know, because I really started my career thinking I was going to take the world by storm as a journalist. I mean, that was my passion and my dream and my goal. I love to write. I love to tell stories.
Because you started at the Inquirer, right?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a full-time working high school student, great grades, but needed to find a way to pay for college, and actually went knocking on the Inquirer's door as a junior in high school saying, what can I do here?
Yeah.
And I started a career in verifying people's papers. It sounds really amazing, right?
Yeah.
Getting a lot of heat when people's papers were on their roofs, in their gutters, and not at their front door. So not a whole lot of fun, but I loved every minute of it. But ultimately, my goal was to make my way into the newsroom and to find a way to pay for college. And that's exactly what I did. I found myself out of high school, working at the Enquirer part-time and going to school full-time at Northern Kentucky University as a first-generation non-traditional student, because I was having to do more night school than anything. And
we share that about each other. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Same. I was first generation going to college from my family, and same. I was at NKU, but I did it while working the entire time and just going to class whenever I could go to class.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, school was second. I mean, I had to work it in whenever my work schedule would permit. And when I finally made my way into the newsroom with the ambition of being a reporter, my thought was, hey, this is great. I'm on a 1 to 10 shift.
Yep.
And I was going to school all morning, coming into work at that 1 o'clock time frame, and then going home and doing homework till 1 or 2 in the morning. And it was like Groundhog Day every day for probably a period of, I don't know, maybe a year and a half. And I quickly realized, I'm not sure that this is really where I want to be. And I lucked into a role with a global wire and cable manufacturing company and the corporate communications team. And the company had actually just gone through an IPO that May, right after I started. So it was a pretty exciting time. We were going public. We had investor relations tied into corporate communications. I am not a numbers person, but I quickly learned all that I could about finance, accounting, and telling the story to shareholders and prospective shareholders and
so
investment
this was right
firms.
after college or during college?
This was still during college. So again, still finding time to go to night school while I was doing a typical
9 to 5?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yep. With this wire and cable company that General Cable. And I love my time there. And it's really where I developed my nerdiness around manufacturing and my love for all things operations.
Yeah.
And from there, my career just kind of took off in the B2B world.
So I have to say, I am a lover of B2B. And it's so funny to meet other people who love B2B because everybody else is like, well, especially on the creative side, sometimes you're just like, oh my gosh, B2B, there's nothing less sexy than B2B.
Yeah.
But you can really find some great things to talk about. And I don't know, B2B is like right here. It gets me in the heart. I love working with B2B brands.
Yeah, same. Yeah. And that really kind of became, for me, a challenge in how do you tell a story? How do you sell a product that looks as less sexy as wire and cable as possible?
Right.
But I think it was getting at the heart of what wire and cable delivers, which is communications and power.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more incredible to me than connecting people through communications and power. So without wire and cable, you don't have the connection for people.
Right.
So I feel like my initial time at General Cable, I probably didn't get that so much. I didn't understand the purpose. And we didn't do a lot to tie people to the purpose of the product that we were making.
Right.
And then I spent a couple years at General Cable and then wound up in the world of creative marketing and design. And that's when a light bulb went off for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've really found my passion and I found what I love. And it's really marketing.
Yeah.
And telling the story, whether it's a business to consumer product or a business to business product. I mean, I had the joy and pleasure of having clients on both sides. And I also did a lot of nonprofit because our president and CEO of the organization where I was, he realized that I could manage a budget and timelines like no other. So I was always tasked with the nonprofits as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think it's kind of fun that you've had both like client side and agency side.
Yeah.
Having both of those experiences, you probably understand, you know, when you're on the agency side, how the client side works, how decisions are made, how, you know, they have importance on, to your point, like budget, timelines, things like that, where on the agency side, sometimes that gets lost because you're more focused on the creative and the concepting and those kinds of things. But you have sort of the marriage of both of those worlds. Yeah.
Agency life was fun. I mean, there were moments that I spent the night on my office floor.
Sure.
I spent the night on couches in printing companies, running press checks for clients. I was out shopping for cakes and soft drinks and snacks for photo shoots. I was styling wire because I actually had the really unique opportunity to continue serving General Cable from the client side, which was amazing for me.
Yeah.
And that's when I started putting the purpose behind things, like really trying to get people connected to why they're buying a product or why it's important to manufacture that. But also getting to work with models. I mean, we had a hair care line and I worked on some personal, like some fem care products. And it was such a wide swath of products that we were figuring out how to market.
Right. Right. So then did you go to NKU or were you back at General Cable, right?
So I was still at NKU when I was at the design firm, still going to school at night. And this is one thing I talk a lot with students when I'm interacting with them or I'm talking to classes is find an opportunity that you're passionate about. And if you can't figure out how to pay for school, find an employer that will invest in you.
Yep.
Every job I've had, I've found somebody that would invest in me.
Yeah.
And I graduated almost completely debt-free from college, thanks to the employers that I worked for. So that was
How did
huge.
we never talk, like, same, literally,
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
And like, that's so weird.
The
Yeah.
kids don't think about it, or the students,
No.
or even some of the younger professionals that are still trying to figure out, how do I make it work? And I feel like we need to do a better job as business professionals helping them see a path
Yep.
out of financial debt with their college degrees, like getting them to understand that it's so important. And there are other ways. You don't just have to finance yourself to death.
Right.
So with still working through college, I keep asking NKU, when can I actually have a master's degree for the 8 years that I was there?
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, 8 years to get a 4-year bachelor's degree, but it was worth every minute.
Yeah.
I mean, the experience that I gained, the relationships that I built, the professors that I met along the way, the ones that kept me motivated on the days that I wanted to quit and drop out and just go make money. They were like, but nobody can ever take a degree away from you.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's
so-
a perseverance too. I mean, honestly, it's not easy to kind of say, no, I can't party. I'm literally going to school. I'm working. I mean, it's just a whole nother level. And then I think too, like, as someone who worked while going to school, the education part just felt that much more valuable.
Yes.
Because I knew how hard I had to work at work to then make it to school on time. And I was going from like, when we went rucking, actually, we're kind of up in that area down to NKU. And that was kind of like my commute. And so it was one of those things where you're like typing up some emails, finishing things up. Like this was like, I guess BlackBerry days. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
And then like
it was.
rushing down to school, like eating a protein bar in the car or something. Yeah, which was kind of fun. But it builds character. There's like a different kind of character that maybe it builds, I think.
It does. And I hate to think back to how many years ago that was, but in 2002, I was finally graduating with a degree, and I felt really settled in my career with the design firm. And a little bit later that year, one of my clients, who happened to be the wire and cable manufacturer, came back and said, hey, what do you think about coming back here and helping us lead on the corporate communications and marketing front? And I was like, really? That would be amazing.
Yeah, right.
Well, in fact, I think what I said was my client at the time, who also is a very amazing woman and was an incredible mentor for me throughout my career. She was like, so do you know of anyone? And I said, well, what about me? And she was like, oh, I was so hoping you would say that. So, she even just backpedaling a little bit when I was on the wire and cable side the first time, I tell students this too, like such a winding path for me. She actually brought me in her office right before I was getting married, actually. And she said, can you get the door? And we closed the door, and she said, hey, I got something I got to share with you. And I'm like, okay. And she was like, I'm letting you go. And I'm thinking like,
Yeah.
getting ready to get married. I just bought a house. Like, huh? And she was like, actually, I'm letting you go. I've created an opportunity for you with our design partner, and I'm really hoping that you'll take it.
Wow.
And she said, I know if I don't help you find the opportunity now and create the space for you to do it, you might never do it.
Wow.
And
Are there anybody, I mean, do those people exist anymore?
I sure hope
I
that
get
I'm that kind of
Right,
person.
Exactly.
Because I draw on that a lot and think about how much she depended on me within her day-to-day, and how much of a gift it was for her to give me that opportunity to go. Like she saw something in me and took a risk on me and pushed me out the door.
Yeah. To make you go do something that was really good for your career.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I know.
That's such a like, honestly, if you think about other leaders that I've interacted with, or, you hope that people want to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, some leaders that I've known are like, no, you stay here, stay here, stay here, stay here. I don't know if I've ever known one to say like, actually, you need to take this opportunity at a totally different organization.
Yeah. I mean, she was 100% looking out for me when I wasn't necessarily looking out for myself.
Yeah.
So she even actually went as far to tell my new boss, the only way I'll let her come to you is if you help her pay for school.
Yeah. Wow.
Just like we have.
Yeah.
And he did. I mean, hands down, he helped. And in fact, he offered if I named my first son after him, that he would help pay for his education too.
So is Josh named after
Josh
this person?
is not named after Rich, but
Okay.
I thought that was a very generous offer, and I actually think he probably would have done it.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Yeah.
So then, okay, so you have all these, you go between the sort of the B2B, you go, to design, you go back to B2B.
Yeah.
And then you make this incredible leap to higher education.
Yeah.
That's a whole other beast. I've heard. I'm not knocking higher education. I'm just saying, like, it's on a category of its own, right? Like, you've got B2B, you have B2C, and then you have higher education that just kind of sits on its own little island.
Yeah. I think my time with General Cable prepared me really well for the world that I was stepping into.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, I would say, collaboration that needed to happen within a global organization.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about diversity and equity in every sense because we were working with cultures and classes and people from all around the world.
Right.
And
At General Cable.
yes, and I was finding ways to bring people together who perhaps had language barriers or were challenged with just fundamentally the way that their cultures were, and so that was interesting.
This is really, this is way before the conversation of like DEI is always part of now, like what everybody wants to talk about and what everybody wants to make sure is part of their corporate or their just everyday culture.
Right.
And that wasn't necessarily talked about at that time period, right?
We were on the fringes of the conversation for sure. We were going through some pretty tough self-reported incidents around corruption and bribery within other countries. And our leadership at the time, they were incredible. I mean, they stepped up and stepped in and started really taking a lead on having open, transparent conversation, including around diversity and equity and harassment and all these topics that feel so taboo. I really applaud the people that were in those seats at the top and the board that was supporting the company, because without them, I don't know how we would have gotten that and how we would have springboarded to some of the conversations.
Right.
And I was actually working on a global corporate social responsibility council headed up by just a brilliant man who retired and is now out on the West Coast, still a great mentor for me. His name is Roddy McDonald. I mean, we've had such wonderful conversation, and I'm really thrilled and blessed that I still have him as part of my tribe, right?
Yeah.
When I need some advice and guidance.
Yeah. Like your own personal board of directors. Do you have your personal board of directors? Yeah.
Definitely have that. And he is one of those people for me. But I was actually tapped and appointed as the lead for that Social Responsibility Council, and that was amazing. And had the privilege to work with another fellow alum, Kurt Drake, who came on board as our chief ethics officer, and I learned so much from him around processes and reporting and just open culture and transparency, and gosh, just invaluable, and again, an amazing student that came out of NKU
North up.
and is doing incredible things in his career and for the country and the places where he lives and works.
Yeah.
So when I went to NKU, I was pulling a lot on some of those collaboration skills that I learned, because that's where I see higher education having the most challenges.
Yeah.
People get in their own silos and they forget to reach out across all the other colleges and like the schools.
Yeah.
But when you pull them,
is it because it's so competitive, you think? I mean, why is that?
I mean, they're not competing for students within their own programs. I think they are just so passionate about the work that they do within their own programs.
Yep.
That sometimes they forget to reach out.
Got it.
But once you create the connection for them, they're hungry for it.
Yeah.
Right. But they're definitely, it's definitely an opportunity for a lot of collaboration.
Yeah.
It's just, how do you get to all those stakeholders and make it happen?
Right.
I mean,
how do you get it started?
You've got staff Congress, you've got faculty Senate, you've got student government. I mean, you have to bring all of those individuals along through a journey for anything that you're wanting to do at the education level. So it's definitely challenging. There was a lot of reward though, seeing students. There's nothing like walking across the campus. Nothing. And seeing the activity and the buzz and the excitement and kids sitting everywhere
Just
and
a different kind
talking.
of energy.
It is.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And of course the campus is beautiful. It's not the concrete jungle that you and
we experienced.
Grew up on.
We had to like dodge duck poop everywhere.
Yeah, no.
It's different. Yeah,
although there would be geese. I would come in and they would be sitting on top of the building, which I was always like,
what are you doing here?
What are you doing up there?
I know there's a lot of dodging of that.
Yeah.
Well, and it's so, I don't know. I'm thinking about it retrospectively. I'm sure you've done this a million times in your life, but like thinking about all these roles and then where it's led you to now, like thinking about just the DEI work that you were doing, the social work that you were doing, working and bringing all these groups of people together at NKU to start the collaboration, and then thinking about where you are and the organization that you're in. You're at REDI Cincinnati. Like that's literally prepared you.
Yeah.
Like almost textbook to be in the role that you are at REDI. Can you, I mean, just for people listening, like tell us about REDI Cincinnati. I have the privilege of knowing REDI pretty intimately, but tell us about REDI Cincinnati.
So REDI Cincinnati is the regional economic development organization for our 15 counties, Cincinnati MSA. Our sole focus is around creating vibrant, sustainable growth for this place where we live and work. We do that through the attraction of companies here to create jobs and capital investment in the region. We also do that by helping our existing industry companies grow and expand here. So I think it's been exciting just in my short term there, just a little under 5 years now, seeing some of these, what I would say are these homegrown, smaller companies at the time, really grow into what I would say are our next generation of headquarter companies. I mean, you look at companies like TQL, MedPace, Divisions Maintenance Group. I mean, they're all just growing and taking our region by storm and creating opportunity and jobs for people. And I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, and we've got such an incredible advanced manufacturing ecosystem here, all the way through Northern Kentucky, up through Cincinnati into the Dayton region. I mean, it's just, it's awesome. I love the work that we're doing. And it's this perfect collision of all the work that I've done in the past.
Yeah.
And understanding manufacturing and process and storytelling combined with talent needs and education and the upskilling and reskilling that people need to be successful in the places where they work. You know, I just feel really blessed to be able to sit at a table and talk to a higher education or a community college partner talking with a company about the workforce challenges they have and how do you help them, right? Or how do
And
you
be that bridge for them, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you help a company grow? I mean, we work with some of the most impressive economic development partners across all 15 counties. And they're all passionate about the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, how do we lift our communities?
Yeah. And the amount of companies that are based here in those 15 counties, I don't know about you, but there are times where I'll hear about a new company on like, I don't know, NPR, or I'll read about it online or whatever. And I think, wait, that's here?
Yeah.
Do you do that a lot?
We do. I mean,
I do that a lot. I'm like, wait, is that here in Cincinnati? Do we have that here in Cincinnati? It's crazy.
Or I get more curious. I'll hear about a company and then I'll start thinking, how do I get them here?
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, that's your
Your
focus
really
is different.
That's where my mind starts to go. Like, how do I put them on my wish list and start going after them? You know,
Yeah.
And our CEO, Kim Lauterbach, she is all about economic development through and through. I mean, and she loves the Cincinnati region.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you know I've never met Kim?
are you serious?
Yeah, I am so serious.
Oh my gosh.
I don't mean to put her out on blast. Like, hi, Kim. I'm Jessie. Nice to meet you.
We need to get her here too.
I know. I need to meet her. I need to meet Kim. I mean, after all these years, I've actually never met Kim. Yeah.
Well, and I will say with my experience with REDI, the first time that I engaged with the organization was really when Amazon was looking for their second headquarters. And REDI came tapping at the door at NKU and said, how can you help us structure a program around higher education for their workforce? And that was one time when I saw the region really pull together and tackle that initiative under REDI's guidance and with other key community partners here too, to put an impressive package together to go back to Amazon. You know, clearly we didn't have that HQ land here, but I loved seeing the collaboration because again, I think that's my one word. And I just loved how excited people got in thinking about how do we get this win for our region. And, you know, Kim was out there really making that happen along with Gina Rittinger at the time. And it was really cool to see them operate. And then when I found out about the opportunity at REDI, I just couldn't quit thinking about the opportunity to bring everything I knew together. And I tell Kim this all the time, to have the ability to work for a female CEO.
Yeah.
Never had that in my career.
Yeah. How different is it?
Well, not different in the sense of working for a kick-ass boss, you know, but different in the sense of when you think, you know, 30 years ago, maybe when I was really starting my career, how many women did you see in a CEO seat?
Not many. There weren't
not
many
to
look at. Yeah.
Yeah. So that to me is always, I love that. I love that I have a seat at the table with a leadership team where we have a strong mix of men and women leading.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing.
And I'm not here to like call out any sort of like men versus women, but how important is it to you as a woman who has grown in her career and be guided by men and women, right? You have mentors that are men, and I'm sure you have mentors that are women that you've talked about. But how important is it for you to kind of like turn around now that you're in the position that you're in and like find other people to sort of lift with you as you climb?
It's so important.
Yeah.
It's important and humbling and exciting. And I have had incredible men and women in my life.
Right. Yeah.
That have helped lift and pull me throughout my career. And I want to be able to give that back too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you do, I should say. I've seen it firsthand that you actually do that. But I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of incredible. again, the position that you're in at REDI, meaning like the things that you get to see, the people that you get to experience. I mean, you get firsthand knowledge of when companies are coming to Cincinnati, and how do you hold on to that excitement and not just like burst open and tell people like, oh my God, this company is coming to Cincinnati?
Well, when I started at REDI, Kim brought me in leading on the marketing and communications front. So
Yeah.
for me, it was getting in and just trying to understand. I was so used to, in the B2B world, talking about a product.
Yes.
First and foremost, and talking about the company. And when I was starting to shape the digital strategy and the overall marketing strategy for REDI, it wasn't about selling our brand. It was about amplifying a bigger region and getting people excited to learn more about the place that we call home.
Yeah.
The place that I have known and loved my entire career.
Right.
You know, I've traveled all over the world, and there is nothing better than getting on a plane and flying into CVG and landing and knowing that I'm in a place where I love.
Even better, I think, is when we go home, right? Because we live up in the suburban, 20 minutes outside the city. So even better for me is when we're driving home and we get to the cut in the hill and then the skyline appears.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It almost like, that chokes me up, but I always get chills every time. And if my kids are sleeping, I'm waking them up. And when I was growing up, if we were sleeping, my mom would wake us up like, we're almost home. Look, what do you guys see? I'd be like, skyline, cool. You know what I mean? But like, as a mom now, I'm like, no, get up. Look, this is where we live. This is amazing. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
No one else has a skyline like ours. I don't. Well, maybe Manhattan, but I mean,
I'm partial to ours.
I'm partial to ours too. I love it.
And I'm coming from Northern Kentucky, so
you get to see it a lot.
I see it pretty much every single day, and I love it.
I was going to say, does it get old, or do you still love seeing it?
No, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
We were talking this morning before we started this, just the beautiful sky that we had coming in on this crazy morning, and it was so vivid and so bright. And to see that when you're driving into the city is incredible. So whether I'm coming through 471 towards downtown, or I'm coming through Wilder into Newport and I'm seeing the skyline open up through Covington as I'm coming across the Roebling Bridge. I mean, it's just, there are so many beautiful assets.
I know. And actually, I will say there was a time when I was younger. So when I first went away to college, I went to Bowling Green in Northern Ohio. And, you know, around that time, what was it? I was like 2000-ish, 2001 or so. And I'd come back home and I'd be like, I'm so bored. There's nothing to do here. We can't do it. I mean, but then people like, you don't even understand. Like, our city is so cool. Like, there's so much to do now. There's been such a transformation in the 23, 24 years, like a huge transformation. And now you get to help shape it even more.
Yeah. So from the marketing perspective, it was really like bursting at the seams you mentioned earlier. Yeah. Telling the story of all the unique assets and the things that we have here, from an amazing cost of living, access to all these mega sports teams. I mean, you think about the Bengals, the Reds, the FC Cincinnati, the Cyclones. I mean, there's so much happening here. And then we've got, you know, NKU Norse. I can't not call them out. The Bearcats, the Muskies. I mean, it's just, it's awesome. The Saints. I mean, we are really super blessed by such a cool place to live.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
The arts and entertainment scene, the food, although I hear people say the food scene's getting better. I actually love the food scene here.
What's wrong with the food scene? Right. I'm good with it.
There are some people that are transplants in, and then I start giving them lists of restaurants. Like, clearly you just haven't found the right places.
Right.
So that's the opportunity. Like, I would tell people.
Thank you, John Robert.
Yes.
Rest in peace.
Make your list. Make your list and start sharing it out when you hear transplants saying, I haven't quite found the right food scene.
That's a good point.
Okay, we just need to.
Yeah.
We need to share some more information with you.
Right. Yeah. You didn't dig far enough.
Yeah. So it becomes a personal challenge. Like, okay, we need to get them to some of our other places.
Yeah. But to your point, like even like the arts and the culture, and we have a nightlife. Thank you, Rico Grant. Like,
Yes.
we actually have a nightlife too.
We do.
Which is kind of incredible. Yeah. I know some transplants that, they just moved to Cincinnati in June. They live in Mount Adams. So talk about a perfect place. They get to see the whole city all the time. And anytime I ask them, they're always so happy. Like, oh my gosh, you guys have this, there's this, da, 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 da. I mean, they always list it. And I'm like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, we always say in our attraction efforts, we can tell consultants and prospective clients that Cincinnati is the right place for them to be. But when we get them here, they're like, wow, I had no idea. I had no idea. What a great city.
Right.
What a great place. Mm-hmm. They have to see it.
Yeah. And actually.
And feel it.
Well, and on that, so when you do get, again, I know a little bit about REDI, and you're trying to attract these businesses to come to Cincinnati and, have our talent here, work with them, work for them, whatever. So when you're bringing people here, I mean, what's kind of the tour? Do you just like tour them around the city? How do you get them to sort of fall in love with Cincinnati?
That's a great question. And it varies really on the visit that we're arranging.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we always try to make sure that they see the urban core and everything that we have to offer here. So they see that, yes, it might seem like we have this small city, but it really is a big feel.
Right.
But they may be looking to locate in a more rural or suburban area.
Yeah.
So it is important for us to get them downtown and to see the outer areas. And, you and I have a shared love of our parks.
Yes.
Right. So we even see nature up close and personal in some of these other areas that I wish we could take them to all the places.
Right.
I wish I could take them rucking with us.
We should. You should just make that as part of your like sales plan. Like, so when they come in, we're going to go executive rucking.
Yes. Thank you, Dominic.
Thank you, Dominic. Yeah. I know when you do though, you get to see really great parks when you go rucking. Yeah. That you didn't, I mean, the Glendale Gardens, I don't think you'd ever been there before when we went a couple months ago now, right? Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Quick backstory. So Gina and I, Gina knew of a group called Executive Rucking with Dominic, who, Dominic, he started that. It's been a couple years,
It's been a while. And I was introduced by Nicole Fenyo, the executive director at the European American Chamber.
Yes.
And she was like, come with. And I'm glad that
you dragged me along at 6 o'clock in the morning.
I did. It was fun.
It was fun.
You were cracking me up in your layers.
I had a lot of layers.
You did.
Because I do not like to be cold. I have since purchased one of those heated vests that you just press the button.
Proud of you. I have one of those too.
Yeah. So we're gonna use that the next time we go rucking.
Yes.
Winter rucking. But I didn't carry a backpack, so I guess for me it was just hiking.
We were hiking.
Yes. But it's this
Nicole was rucking.
Nicole carried weights. She did. But it's this great thing where you come together. It's, I don't know, it is just like varying backgrounds of people, like executives around Cincinnati area, and they pick a park or a place to start, and then you walk for, I don't even know how many miles we did, but
we just did Spring Grove Cemetery, and we were just right around 4 miles, in that time.
Yeah, but it's a great way to start your morning.
Yep.
There's some networking involved, just kind of like as a byproduct, which was really nice. So, join us next time.
Yeah,
a little shout out to Dominic's group.
We take some prospective clients with us.
Right. Yes, come see the nature side of Cincinnati. Yeah. We'll talk about your new role at REDI.
Yeah, so strategic growth. Love Ryan Hayes' new book. I know you've finished it. I'm working on finishing it.
Oh, girl. I'm like a disciple of Ryan Hayes, strategist first. It's crazy. Yeah.
So had the pleasure getting to know Ryan through the work at REDI. And when he put the book out about the strategy, it was funny, just always thinking about being a strategist. My work at General Cable really led me down a strategy path. And by the end, I was doing a lot of strategic planning and strategy work. I did a lot of it at NKU as we worked through Success by Design. And that was a campus-wide initiative and community-wide as well. And when I came into REDI, we were working on our first 5-year strategic plan. And so just by nature, and Kevin Donnelly and I were, one of my colleagues, we were having the conversation that, geez, Gina, you're always doing strategy off the side of your desk. Like, but you're a strategist through and through. And,
Yes.
and Kim will tell me, like your strategic thinking, your mind, she's just been so supportive and complimentary of me in that space. And we decided that we were going to put this position into place, and we were looking to hire from outside. And I kept struggling with this feeling like, I think it's supposed to be my next step. Like, I think I'm supposed to be working with Kim to shape the strategy. And I finally just said to her, like, again, I asked that question, what about me?
Right.
And it just kind of transpired from there. And, fast forward, I've been in the role now for about 7, going on 8 months now. Had the opportunity to work across the region with Ryan and his team at the University of Cincinnati on a Tech Hubs designation project. And that was incredible. Was collaborating with the Dayton region for this wider, more comprehensive MSA approach around technology and innovation, which Cincinnati is amazing for.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Or the region, I should say. And I'm just having a lot of fun. I mean, trying to ask a lot of questions about why.
That's exactly what Ryan says to do in his book.
I think our team is getting really excited. Like, they're thinking about things a little bit differently than they have before. We're in year 5 of our strategy. So our last year, so we're getting ready to kick off the next 3-year strategy. And Ryan's book was perfectly timed for me because I was starting to think about how do we shape the next iteration of REDI strategy and the work that we're doing to continue to grow economic development across the region. And just reminding myself, like, strategy is not the outcome. It's the strategist that's helping drive the outcome. And you can't develop a strategy and put it on the shelf.
Nope.
Just for the sake of saying I have a strategy.
No.
And we say all the time, when COVID happened, thank goodness we had a strategic plan.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it established the guardrails and it kept us very focused at a time when it was easy to lose track and to worry. And everything that we were doing, we just kept looking at it and saying, does it fall within one of the strategic pillars?
Right.
Does it support the work that we're doing in booming business?
Right.
We're going to come out better and stronger. We just have to stay focused.
Right. Stay the course. Keep going. Keep plugging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm a firm believer in everybody taking on a strategist mindset.
Yes.
And, you definitely have people that are the doers and the people that are the dreamers and the people that kind of fall right in the middle. I feel like I'm a middle person.
Right.
I never mind getting in the weeds, getting in the trenches, rolling my sleeves up.
Rolling your sleeves up. Yep. Getting dirty, getting into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you even talked about too, like just kind of looking around the corners, kind of just like seeing what's ahead. That was one of the things that Ryan and I like really talked about, was that. And the other thing I think about with you as a strategist is like you love to coach other people up as well. And like, if the entire REDI team is working off of the same strategy template. Like I'm a strategist template, the same playbook.
Yep.
Right. Like, but if everybody's being coached in the same way to think like a strategist, like not just Gina is the only one that's supposed to think like a strategist, but she's going to lead it. And then everybody else is going to think like a strategist too. That only makes your organization that much stronger. Yeah. I mean, I'm like, hey, we need the book for everybody here at Resolve, because it can't just be me thinking about what's around the corner. It has to be everybody thinking about what's around the corner. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have a mindset in a similar fashion around communications. I've heard people say to me over the years, well, you're the communications expert. What do you want us to say? And this is on you to figure this out. And I would be like, it's on all of us.
All of us. Yeah.
To own the communications.
Right.
Like we all have to be singing from the same hymnal, essentially.
Yeah.
To be most effective. So I think strategy is the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody owns it.
No, that's incredible. So I love asking this question. What should we be excited about with you?
What's the next 3 years look like? Be ready.
Be ready.
You know, literally. Mm-hmm. And we're ready to serve. I mean, it's such a play on words, but I love that. We're going to go wrecking. We're going to keep adventuring.
Yeah.
I have one in college and one getting ready to go to college. So truly an empty nester. So I feel like the world it's opening in a very different way for me over the next year. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited about that.
I think that's exciting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that, I'm just going to brag about you for a few minutes. So, we got to meet right at the beginning of the time when you started at REDI, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
We had a blind date. We had never met before.
We did. We did.
We had a blind date. We were hooked up and it was love at first sight. And no, but it was truly one of those things where we sat down, we had breakfast at Sleepy Bee, I think, right? Mm-hmm. And our offices were actually not that far from each other.
No.
And we both had this like crazy fun, let's just get some shit done energy. And it was one of those meetings that I remember walking away from and I was thinking like, oh, she's for real and we're going to get some shit done together. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you have those meetings with people and you have the energy and then you walk away and you're like, I don't know if that was genuine or what, but with you, it was genuine. Thank you. We had the privilege of being able to work together on a really fun project. So it was redesigning the REDI Cincinnati website.
Yeah.
And I just loved being in your presence. I loved being in meetings with you. I loved learning from you. I loved working together with you. And although we're not working together now, I'm so excited that like we still have like stayed connected, use each other as sounding boards. And I know this is a giant love fest, but I'm okay with it.
You are a lifelong friend for me.
I know, right?
I felt that. Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I guess I really don't know how to be anything more than just kind of transparent in who I am.
Well, exactly.
My mom is, I have an incredible mother. She was a single mom, somebody to just really watch and admire. And I know, Mom, I don't say that enough, but I do admire you tremendously. You're my hero. And she just always told me to, be who I am, be real, be respectful.
But that's how you
find the good in everybody.
But that's how you do business life, which then turns into personal life. And I think kind of my point was like, you blended personal and professional. You do blend personal and professional so gracefully and with such an energy that like, it's inspiring that I can continue to just be transparently myself in a business setting. I mean, you talk to world leaders, honestly. Like, I mean, you're talking to like people who are in these businesses all over the world. And you still are your authentic, like business savvy, professional, badass bitch. And with like lots of great kind energy though. Seriously.
Grit. I'll just keep going back to grit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
That means a lot to me.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah. You're welcome. How do you keep grounded in that though?
I don't know. I think I I've done a lot of reflection over the past couple years and just, I don't know, I just want to continue to treat others the way that I want to be treated. Mm-hmm. And I think, if anything, COVID did teach us all to be more accepting of one another and to realize that we're all coming from the same place.
Yeah.
Irregardless of your social or economic standing. I mean, I saw, CEOs and people in positions of power fumble with their camera, get frustrated, sit their little one on their lap, pull their dog up in their lap, pet their cat. I mean,
the guy that was like, I'm not a cat. I'm not a cat. Like, So sorry, Judge. I don't know what happened. I'm not a cat.
I loved the fact that COVID opened up this whole world of seeing humanness.
Yeah.
It did do that. Mm-hmm. Never want to go back to that.
But keeping up that same.
But keeping that.
Human
feeling. And yes, the human element and the realness. Like, I hope we don't move away from that.
Yeah, I hope so too. I'm going to put you and I in charge of making sure that it stays that way. How about that?
I think that's
Chief
good.
in charge of human.
Oh, that's a big order.
Yeah, it is. It is. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I've been trying to snag you. I was like, I need Gina in the seat with me.
I've been telling you, who the hell wants to hear from me?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. What up, Steve?
Oh my gosh, Jesse, I have questions.
Okay, let me guess. Is your first question, what is rucking?
Well, I mean, I know, but for those in the back who maybe are slow on the uptake, what is rucking?
Okay, rucking, from what I think it is, maybe we should look this up, but I think it's where you go hiking with a backpack full of weights. So you're
weighted down the whole time?
You're weighted down the whole time. And we went executive rucking, which is actually rebranding. So by the time this comes out, it could be a new name. I submitted a name of Ruck and Roll, I think maybe. I don't know.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah. Or like What the Ruck.
Ooh.
But yeah, it's a group of people who get together at 6:00 in the morning, and they had breakfast and coffee and all kinds of fun stuff. And there was a lot of great people to meet. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You said executive rucking, and the first thing I thought of was like, you're just picking up an executive, like, get in my backpack, and then you're just like Yoda and Luke Skywalkering them across the woods.
You know what? Maybe I'll try that. Maybe I'll see if, maybe I'll ask Gina if next time, if she just wants like a piggyback ride for part of it, and then we'll swap.
I mean, that's team building if I have ever heard of anything.
Right. If you ever wanted a team building experience,
get in my bag. We're going.
Get on my back. Let's go ruck. Yeah, exactly.
Are you down to ruck?
Right.
Are you DTR?
Are you DTR? Ruck. Okay, I'm gonna submit that name actually as one of the ones to do.
Boom.
Seriously though, like, is she not the most authentic, like, kind, badass you've ever met? I mean,
I definitely want her on my team. Whatever team that is, whatever we're doing, I want her there.
Yeah. And seriously, like, truly, the time that we first met, it was a blind date. Like, someone was like, hey, the two of you need to meet. We meet. And I was like, oh my gosh. Instantly, I needed Gina in my life.
Did you guys go Dutch?
Did we what?
Did you guys go Dutch on your double date?
What does it mean? I haven't dated in like 20 years. What does that mean?
I'm pretty, now I'm kind of maybe not sure. I'm pretty sure it's when you split the bill evenly at a dinner. Yeah.
I probably covered. The bill. Yeah, there was some prospecting going on in there, so I covered the bill.
And they say chivalry's not dead.
Right, exactly. I won the biz. I won the business.
There you go.
Won the friendship. Still friends now. So, yeah, perfect. All right. Can't wait.
Let's go rucking.
You want
to get in my backpack?
No, thanks.
Okay.
Bye, Steve.
Bye.
Hey, guess what? You made it to the end of the podcast. That's awesome. And you know what you get for that? You get more content. Check out this content from the Resolve team, all about Rediscover Your Story podcast content right here. You click on it, you might get a treat. Find out. Steve, make it stop.